I didn't actually with
Oh
college.
yeah, you didn't go to college.
No,
Wait, you did go to college.
I did go to college, but I couldn't get in anywhere. So I was recruited for baseball at a few programs, but my grades were just so bad. They were like low 2.0s. And this is not like something that I think everyone should do. Obviously, this is just kind of my situation. I wasn't fit, for school, like regular academic learning structure just like really didn't work for me. I just didn't really care for it.
Yeah.
I like to educate myself, and I read and I did all sorts of things, but just like school, I just could never do it. So I always had good enough grades to play baseball. I walked that fine line every single year.
Yeah.
I played baseball through high school.
Just good enough to be on the team. Still.
Yeah, exactly.
I got you.
And so I was recruited to a few places, and all but one had a program that would allow me to take a community college semester nearby. So that was in Massachusetts. So they said, all right, well, you can come, you can live on campus. You can't play fall ball with the team, but you can practice. You just can't play games. But you can live on campus, but you don't attend our school. You have to do it at a community college first and prove that you can get whatever the GPA was. I think it was a 3.0. And then if you do that for a semester, then we'll bring you into our school. Those credits will transfer. So it was actually a cool little program for people like myself.
Yeah.
And so, that's what I ended up doing. And then in college, I still didn't really do school
No.
there either. But as I mentioned, when we first had that cigar, it's like, but the joke is ultimately on me. I mean, I graduated with like $150,000 in student loans for this out-of-state school. It took me 5 years and 2 summers because I didn't like school. I didn't do it. Like
You literally went there to play baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that's where I met my wife, and so I don't really like.
So it's still, in the end, it's a good thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think it was like a formation for me as well, like becoming like a man and like living on my own and kind of figuring things out. I mean, it was definitely a very expensive way.
Yeah, to figure your life out.
To do that. But I'm trying to like pull the good out of what happened.
Yeah.
Like what good came from this? Because I never got a job or anything based on business. I have a Bachelor of Science in Business Management. I basically took all the business courses, but I didn't really go to those classes, but I still passed.
I bet you learned more than you think you did.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But I never ended up I never had a real job. Like I never worked in corporate.
Yeah. School's a weird thing, man. Like, I think like it's like it's like they're trying to fit you into a box, and it's like, especially as like a young boy, like it's when you're like I'm like looking at my kids, and it's like little girls they're great students. Like they learn fast, they sit still, they're more social in that aspect. Little boys are like rambunctious, and it's hard to make them sit, and that's kind of how I was. And like school it was never like, oh, I'm so smart that I'm bored. It's just like I was bored because I didn't want to be there. And it's funny to think back to the way I was as a young kid and a young man, and had no interest in learning. Like I had no real interest in learning, or things never really caught my eye. And then now
it probably just wasn't the right subject for you. Like,
yeah,
I think just like the standard school, whatever it is, the curriculum, and like the standard topics and things of that nature, like learning about history and all that kind of stuff. I was just like,
but now it's like I read.
You're into that note.
Yeah,
now,
I read
right? Yeah,
20 plus books a year. Like I probably didn't read a full book until like, I told you last time about the book that I read, and I was in my early 20s. That's probably the first book I'd ever read, and then like that did kind of catapult me into reading a little bit. But it's almost like I did so bad in school, because I barely graduated high school. Like I got like my junior year of high school, they brought me in. The counselor or the assistant principal, somebody brought me in. His name was Mr. Ritchie, and he like sits me down and he's like, "Kid, you seem like a nice enough kid, but your grades are so terrible."
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, it was like, he basically said like, you're better off if you drop out and like kind of get ahead of whatever you're going to do with your life, because this isn't for you. And I'm grateful that that happened, because I was so...
Do you think that was bad advice?
Not necessarily.
Yeah, I agree.
For if you knew who I was, you'd have been like, that probably wasn't terrible advice. But my personality, it kind of worked, because I was like, fuck you. Like, I'll show you.
I'll prove you wrong.
And so like the prove you wrong was the only reason I graduated high school. So it's like, at least I did that, and I proved to myself like, all right, if I apply, I can find a way to at least get to the finish line. But I learned so little that, and then I started as I got into my early 20s running a business. It was like the aspect of never learning anything in school almost taught me that if I was going to learn something, I had to teach myself. And teaching myself anything has been the best skill that I've ever developed in my life. So like reading books, talking to people, researching, whatever it may be, even trial and error, all of it, I've always thought it's like, I have to teach myself X. And that, I think, is the best skill that I ever learned. And in a weird way, I learned it by being so shitty at school. So
You basically learned how to learn.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is a real skill, especially now with like AI and all these new tech developments. Like learning how to learn, like, and keep up is actually a really important skill. And a lot of really well-to-do business people speak about that, about like figuring out like how to learn quicker, how to like shorten the curve of learning new topics and new subjects. And it's like, that's what you did. And I was in a similar situation of like teaching myself things. And, you know, and that really helps. And it builds like that foundation, because we went over a lot of foundational stuff in the first video.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of people, that was very well received. People thought it was very refreshing to see someone, especially in your situation, what you've built, still talk about like the fundamentals and how you still, those are incorporated in every single day. And they're like, oh wow, because again, we talk about like there is no magic pill, there's no magic wand, you don't have a secret that the rest of the industry doesn't have.
Yeah,